370 Retirement Journey with Justin Fort, where it's all about planning for the happy and successful retirement you deserve. What we know about you is that you want to retire in comfort and security, living your current or even a better lifestyle than you do now, and you want to know that you can do that for the rest of your life. Well, this show is different from any other retirement planning show you'll hear. Why? Because I'm different. I'm Justin Fort of Fort Wealth Management, and I am a certified financial planning professional, retirement income certified professional, and a chartered financial consultant with a fiduciary duty to put your interests ahead of my own. What does all that mean exactly? Well, first, as a certified financial planning professional, I am trained to work in all 5 aspects of your financial plan. Number 1, making your money grow so inflation doesn't eat your lunch. Number 2, planning for lifetime income for you and your spouse. Number 3, ensuring your liquidity so you're ready for emergencies and opportunities. Number 4, shielding you against calamity so you're not going to be wiped out by unexpected, unforeseen events. And number 5, and leaving a financial legacy to the people and causes you love. But what about that fiduciary duty? Most people know it refers to a financial professional who is required by law to put your interests ahead of their own. That's a good thing, but it's not enough. Sure, you want a fiduciary on your side, but you also want that person to be trained to handle all 5 areas I just named: growth, income, liquidity, shielding against calamity, and leaving a legacy. Just saying you're a financial fiduciary isn't enough if all you can do is sell insurance or stocks and you don't address those 5 important areas. That's why more and more people are coming to Fort Wealth Management, and we'd love to help you too. Don't leave yourself exposed. Call now, Fort Wealth Management, 1-800-886-5624. We'll do a free, no obligation 5-point review measuring what you have in place now against what we know you'll need in the future. And within an hour, you'll not only know your likelihood of success, you'll also know what you need to do to close the gap in all 5 of those areas. So today on the show, defined benefit versus defined contribution. Which is the best? How about hidden fees in 401ks? Full disclosure is a law, but is it working out in your investments? Asset classes, the different classes of investment assets that help protect you against losses and potentially get you in on some great gains. Investing globally, is it for you? And the 5 pillars of a successful and happy retirement plan. So let's get started. This is a key retirement planning topic. I'm taking this from an article from the website My Retirement Paycheck, mainly because it's concise. You can get this type of information anywhere, and it's important for you to understand, but what's most important comes after the definitions. Well, let's start with defined benefit plans versus defined contribution plans. About defined benefit plans, as you probably know, a defined benefit plan, it identifies the specific benefit that will be payable to you at retirement. Your basic retirement benefit is usually based on a formula that takes into account factors like the number of years you worked for your employer and the salary that you had there at the employer. Your retirement benefit is generally provided in the form of a regular payment over your lifetime, beginning at what the plan calls normal retirement age, quote unquote, which is typically about age 65. This stream of periodic payments is generally known as a pension or sometimes called an annuity, almost one and the same. How about defined contribution plans? A defined contribution plan specifies how much money will go into a retirement plan today. The amount typically is either a percentage of your salary or a specific dollar amount. Often you set that. Then those funds often are invested in mutual funds available inside the retirement plan. You may or may not have the ability to make those investment selections. The amount you have at retirement depends on how much your employer contributes as well, how much you contributed, and how much you experienced in terms of growth on the funds that you selected. And so the more and more that employers are replacing defined benefit plans with these defined contribution plans, often the most popular is the 401k, primarily due to they are doing this because of the expense and long-term obligations associated with running a defined benefit plan. If you have a defined benefit plan through your employer, be sure to regularly let your employer know that you really appreciate your retirement plan. It's a benefit well worth keeping. What does all this mean to you? You can tell by the way the author in this article and myself wrap up the information here, telling you that regularly contributing to your retirement plan it is a defined contribution plan, and it is a defined contribution plan, but a defined benefit plan is almost the flip side. It's the back end of it. Which is better? Well, for many people, a defined benefit plan is better, but you may not have access to that. It's nice having a defined benefit plan because it's predictable. The benefits last for life, and you can pass your pension on to your spouse. That's what we all want, right? Income we can't outlive, and the certainty that when we die, our spouse will be taken care of. Well, that's very nice. The downside of the defined benefit plan, though, is that typically when both you and your spouse have passed away, even if that's just 1 year after you retire, that money's gone. Nothing for your heirs. The defined contribution plan, on the other hand, is nice because you have some control over where the money is invested. Also, if you change jobs, you can usually take at least some of your savings with you. In fact, when you retire, your retirement nest egg is yours. If you die, your spouse dies, whatever, your heirs will still be able to inherit the money that you didn't spend or didn't use. The downside, though, is that your investment can go up or down in value. Ask anyone who worked for Enron. It can go to zero. It's possible. That's why you want to be properly invested. So which one is better, defined benefit or defined contribution? Well, most times I don't see people who have company pensions saying they want to trade their lifetime income for a lump sum payout. But I do see people with lump sums worrying about how long that money will last. Is that you? Probably so. At Fort Wealth Management, we're big picture thinkers, remember. We know you need lifetime income. That's one of the 5 pillars of successful retirement plan. So whether you come to us with a defined benefit or a defined contribution plan or some combination of both, one of the first things we do is plan for you to have a lifetime income that goes to you or your spouse should either one of you die first. So that's a given. Work with me, and income for life will be part of your plan. Let's just set that worry aside and focus on other things. But remember, a successful retirement plan is also built on 5 pillars: growth, income, liquidity, and a shield against calamity, as well as leaving a legacy to the people you love and the causes you love. Income is number 2 on the list, and we always include it, but we also make sure that you have the other 4 pillars in place too. We can't ignore those. If you have concerns about getting your lifetime income in place, call Fort Wealth Management. That's 1-800-886-5624. We'll address that first. We'll take a look at what you have in all of your 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, etc. We'll match that up to your Social Security benefits and figure out the best way to take your Social Security. And we'll also factor in your pensions if you have them. And you'll see that the reliable income, a lifetime income, can be part of your retirement picture. You'll be amazed at how easy we make it for you. You can call us now at Fort Wealth Management, 1-800-886-5624. Within just a few minutes, you'll be comfortable knowing you can be secure in retirement. Lifetime income, it's just part of the plan, and we put it into every plan we do. So call us now, Fort Wealth Management, 1-800-886-5624. Looking forward to seeing you. Coming up next, hidden fees in 401ks. Are you being cheated? Stay tuned. This is Justin Fort, and you're listening to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort right here on Talk 1370. When you go in for dental work, you don't have to wonder about things like anesthesia, sterile equipment, and expertise. They're givens. Your dentist has a medical duty to take care of you. As a certified financial planning professional, I have a fiduciary duty to take care of you. You don't have to wonder if your retirement can survive a bad illness. It's in the plan. You don't have to wonder about hidden fees or unnecessary taxes or a dozen other variables because I have a fiduciary responsibility to do what's best for you, and I'm trained to do it. If you're wondering about any of these things, you don't have a real plan, and that could destroy your retirement. Call now, Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624. Spend an hour with me, Justin Fort. See the science behind real planning. See how you could have a great retirement. Call now, Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort, where it's all about planning for the happy and successful retirement you deserve. Are you in a 401k at work? Do you have one or more 401ks from previous jobs? they kind of go on autopilot, don't they? Well, what you probably don't know is that there are fees you can see and there are fees you don't see. The following is taken from an article by the people at Investopedia.com. It's entitled The Hidden Fees in 401ks, updated December 7th, 2015. You know what a 401k is. Unfortunately, investor naivete is such that millions of people never stop to ask how much the 401k provider, the mutual fund companies, and other companies involved are charging. The services aren't always free. They collect a fee every month. That can impact your results. The question is how much. Thanks to a 2012 mandate of the U.S. Department of Labor, your 401k provider is now required to disclose all its fees in the prospectus statement that it sends you every year. So fees are no longer hard to locate, and it pays to pay attention to them. We'll come back to this in a second. Types of fees. There are essentially four major categories of fees: administrative, investment, asset, and audit fees. According to this article, despite the complaints about hidden fees, the fees aren't hidden so much as they're judiciously disclosed, thanks to that Department of Labor rule. These people are smart. Think about it. The article goes on to demonstrate that 401k fees are actually pretty low, giving supposedly real numbers from a supposedly real account. Here's how the article wraps up, though. Fees, regardless of how conspicuously they're disclosed, should be only one criterion you pick for your 401k investments. Each fund is different, and the most important factor in how much you make is its overall return. Look at asset class, management's relative competence, and track record first. Each of them will have a far greater impact on your long-term results than fees. And don't forget to factor in whether you are more comfortable with an index fund or an actively managed fund. This article says one thing: hidden fees. No such thing. Don't even worry about them. In fact, it actually points you away from looking at fees, giving you a laundry list of other things to look at first. So hidden fees, no worries. Nothing to see here. Move right along. The problem is that just doesn't match up with what I see in real life. Barely a week goes by that I don't see a new client who's been paying anywhere from 2 to 10 times as much as they actually thought they were. And remember, a lot of you out there may actually believe that you're not paying anything in fees. Well, we want to get to the bottom of that. And, I've got stories and stories related to this problem. The best thing to do is actually come in and sit down and visit with me, and I'll go through your plan and take a look at your investments, and we'll pull those out with you. How many times have you read a prospectus and really got everything out of it that you feel like you need to? Shouldn't those people that are charging you fees be telling you more clearly and concisely? I believe so. So as a fiduciary, I am required by law to disclose everything, every charge, every fee. And there should be fees for services. That's one way we get paid. But you got to know what it is. It's got to be transparent, and you got to be getting the services you're paying for. That's why I pay good money to have the best software I can get. If the government comes in to see if I'm living up to my fiduciary duty, I have to be able to prove I'm giving my clients the right numbers, or else I'm out of the business. That's it. I've got a family as a support. I'm going to be in this for the long haul. We're going to do this the right way. Are you getting the right numbers from your current advisor, especially if one of your current advisors is really the HR lady who handles your 401k, and maybe the rep who comes in once a year for an hour or two group meeting? Well, guess what? I don't want you to be robbed. You don't want to be robbed. Call me, Justin Fort at Fort Wealth Management. That's 800-886-5624. I'll do a free, no obligation review of all of your fees. It's part of the 5-point review we will also do for free, measuring where you stand now compared to what we know scientifically. There is a science to this. Well, you use a lot of math and calculators and software that you'll need to have in order to have a successful retirement. We'll keep this simple for you. Inside of an hour, you will know where you stand now and how to close the gap in all 5 areas. Call now, Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624, especially if you're being told you're getting good growth in your plan, but the numbers are mysteriously not that good. That may be a sign of hidden fees. Don't wait another 5 years or even 5 months. Call now. Don't put this off. Learn the truth about your fees. Again, Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624. Looking forward to seeing you. Coming up next, a topic that was barely touched on in this article, but it is one of the biggest determiners of your investing success. What is it? Stay tuned. Retirement Journey, Justin Fort, Talk 1370.
Hi,
Justin Fort, host of Retirement Journey right here on 1370. On my show, I seldom focus on quote-unquote safe money. Why? Because when you're doing a comprehensive retirement plan for a great retirement, safe money is just not that tough to work in. If you think about it, there are really only 5 options: cash, CDs, treasuries, fixed annuities, and fixed indexed annuities. They're all safe because they're all insured, so we pick the best, buy, and move on. As a fiduciary, I know that there's much more to a comprehensive retirement plan than just the safe money part. If all your current advisor wants to talk about is safe money, then they're not thinking of the big picture. And real planning always looks at the big picture. Get a real retirement plan from a trained fiduciary. Call me, Justin Fort, at Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624. That's 800-886-5624. Welcome back to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort, where it's all about planning for the happy and successful retirement you deserve. Now, a topic that was barely touched on in the article I mentioned and went over last segment about hidden fees in 401ks is one of the biggest determiners of your investing success. What is it? It's asset classes. Here's how Investopedia.com defines asset classes. A group of securities that exhibit similar characteristics, behave similarly in the marketplace, and are subject to the same laws and regulations. The 3 main asset classes are equities, that's stocks, fixed income, that's bonds, and cash equivalents or money market instruments. Spreading your investments over various asset classes is the basis of diversification, and diversification, as everyone knows, is how we minimize risk when we're talking about taking risk, right? Here's the problem. This definition is wrong, and it's the definition used by the vast majority of investors and, in some cases, advisors as well. Is this your definition? It's short, so I'm going to read it again. See if you can find the mistake. According to Investopedia and most of the investment world, asset classes are a group of securities that exhibit similar characteristics, behave similarly in the marketplace, and are subject to the same laws and regulations. The 3 main asset classes are equities, fixed income, and cash equivalents. Did you get it? I emphasized one word at the beginning of the definition, even repeated it so you could pick it out. The first 4 words of the definition are a group of securities, but while all securities are investments, guess what? Not all investments are securities. Therefore, how can you limit asset classes to just securities? Can you think of some investments that are not securities? I bet you can. Here, I'll give you a minute. Think about it. How about real estate? You probably own a home. It may be your biggest investment. You may even own part of a real estate investment trust, otherwise known as a REIT, R-E-I-T. How about metals or other commodities, pork bellies, wheat, oranges? People invest in all of those, right? You just don't want a ton of it showing up at your door and being parked on your garage. So we do that. We can own those things paper-wise, but again, what about annuities? How about life insurance? Officially, they're not investments, not according to the SEC, but when you think of investments as being something you put money into in the hopes of getting more money out of it, they qualify, right? 2 important things to think about when we talk about asset classes. Number 1, you should consider all of them in your planning. We want to really own everything. I mean, this is stuff that I learned at University of Texas, their Macomb School, where I got my finance degree. And you also want to buy cheap. Why pay more for the vehicle that's going to help you own those things than you have to? Let's look at number 1, considering all asset classes in your planning mix. Well, at Fort Wealth Management, we don't live in the securities only box. We also don't live in the annuities only box or insurance only box. As a fiduciary, I am required by law to do what's best for you, not me. Could I make more money just selling annuities, just selling securities, or just doing this or that? Actually, I have no idea because I've never even considered going that way. I knew from the start that I wanted to be able to guide you to whatever's best for you. So I went the extra mile to get all the training and all the professional licensing I need to make sure that whatever is best for you, I can help you with that. That's why we consider all asset classes when we do your planning. Does that mean you'll end up with something from every asset class in your plan? Probably not. Well, but you will end up with what's best for you. That's what you get from a true fiduciary planner that knows, like myself. Well, number 2, buying cheap. If your plan calls for a particular asset class, say we want energy sector securities as one of your asset classes, then we will know how to buy that asset class as efficiently as possible for you. We'll look into stocks, bonds, mutual funds, index funds, master limited partnerships, everything available in the energy sector. And then how we do that, those funds or vehicles that we use are going to be in your best interest. And generally, they tend to be the cheapest. Cheapest doesn't always mean the best, though. I just want to throw that out there. And we'll find the best way to participate in that asset class, knowing that it must match your plans, your risk tolerance for volatility. I know that sounds complicated and complex, but we can make it simple. And even your personal philosophy, if that comes into play. You have to know that there are always many, many ways to buy anything. Because of legal obligations of my fiduciary duty, I have to fulfill your plan as efficiently as possible. And that usually means as inexpensively as possible, of course. Not that I'm putting my people in junk bonds. That wouldn't work. Well, in most of my clients, it's risk tolerance that matters most. When you come in for your no charge, no obligation 5-point review, we may find that you're in all the right asset classes. And we may find that you've bought all of them as efficiently as possible. It could happen. I just haven't seen it very often, to be honest. And statistically speaking, it could happen, but just in case it might not be working for you that way, wouldn't you like to know at least whether or not that's true for you? So again, call us now. 512-433-6492 is our direct line, or you can call us on our 800 line at 800-886-5624. We'll do a no charge, no obligation 5-point review, which means you'll know within an hour whether you're in the best asset classes for you and whether you're buying them right or bleeding money from your portfolio. Then through our proprietary process, you will know scientifically and factually where you stand and how to close the gap in all 5 areas, including asset classes. So call now, Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624. Don't wait. Call now. Again, Fort Wealth Management, we're here for you. Love to see you. 800-886-5624. When we get back, a slightly different twist on asset classes. In fact, there's a whole world of asset classes we haven't even discussed. Stay tuned. This is Justin Fort, Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624. Show is Retirement Journey, Talk 1370. Is your time worth $5,000 per hour? Here's why I ask. Securities have a good record for beating inflation, but there are many ways to own the same thing. Suppose you want energy stocks for their growth potential. There are 3 or 4 ways to go, and the fees can range from anywhere around 1% to well over 5%. As a fiduciary, I'm required by law to do the best thing for you, not me. I can't tell you how many times people come in with investments that are so costly, I wouldn't even be allowed to offer them to my clients. In many cases, the funds that people have, they're paying 8-10 times as much as necessary to actually own the underlying asset class. And so you may be able to save $5,000 a year by simply coming in and visiting with me for 1 hour. Are you being taken advantage of? Call me, Justin Fort at Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624. In 1 hour, you could possibly put thousands of dollars back into your pocket, 800-886-5624. Welcome back to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort, where it's all about planning for the happy and successful retirement you deserve. Do you travel? Then in one sense, at least, you're investing abroad. But could it be right for you to put your money into foreign companies as part of your investment plan? Why global investing will improve your portfolio. This is by Kate Stotler, October 26, 2015. Large U.S. stocks have notched a mostly stellar performance since their post-financial crisis rebound beginning in March 2009. However, the same can't be said for emerging market stocks. The Financial Times Stock Exchange Emerging Index has declined about 15% over the past 5 years. The index tracks large and mid-capitalization stocks based in 21 emerging markets. The largest emerging market country weightings is in the FTSE index, including China, India, Taiwan, Brazil, Mexico, and South Africa. The index also tracks countries in Eastern Europe and Middle East. Most investors understand intellectually that risk and return are related, but should they continue holding an asset class such as emerging market equity that is suffering a prolonged hump slump. I believe that long-term growth-oriented investors should have emerging market exposure, says Ryan Wibberley, CEO of CIC Wealth in Gainesburg, Maryland. As the more developed economies continue to mature, the growth rates from these places are most likely going to be lower than the rates found in some emerging economies. In a diversified portfolio, all asset classes generally don't move in the same direction at the same time. Hence, that's why we want to be diversified. That lack of correlation or connectedness, if you will, tends to smooth returns, but it also worries investors who don't like seeing any of their holdings head south, especially over several years. Self says, retirees who frequently opt for income-paying investments may find that some emerging market funds fit the bill. For example, he cites the Wisdom Tree Emerging Markets High Dividend Fund as an ETF containing high-quality companies that pay high dividend yields. Scott Koob, chief investment strategist at CLS Investments in Omaha, Nebraska, says investors who turn their back on emerging markets may forego gains over time. He says that emerging markets represent a large and important part of the investment universe. A portfolio without any emerging market asset exposure would not have investments in China, Mexico, or much of Eastern Europe. Investors who pass up potential opportunities in emerging markets will miss out on the opportunities in these markets, of course. He says that even with the recent outperformance of U.S. stocks, emerging market equities have a 15-year track record of outperforming the S&P 500. The U.S. stock market that a lot of people like to compare their returns to. That's very interesting. Remember, retirement is about the long haul, and so we want the asset classes that are going to be as non-correlated as possible in your portfolio so that you're going to have the returns that you need to generate the retirement of your dreams. Well, owning emerging market equities can provide high returns to investors who exercise patience, Wibberley says. These asset classes tend to move quickly, and timing them is very difficult. The advantage of holding these stocks during a downturn is that you no longer need to be a market timing expert, which I have yet to actually meet one of these people. And, I can't add more weight to that idea. You don't want to be market timing. We don't do it at Fort Wealth Management. Eventually, these stock markets have come back and hit new highs. Trying to time the move in and out of emerging markets is tricky because you have to be correct when you sell, and you have to be able to get back in before the market runs up. Waiting for it to come back up and then getting back in, that's like buying high. That's the opposite of what mom and dad said, right? Buy low, sell high is the old adage, and we do believe in that. Unless you are guided by a rigorous quantitative model, very few investors can make both calls correctly and consistently, and that's exactly why we don't advise that at Fort Wealth Management. Even professional investors with a tactical approach say emerging market exposure is often worth the risk. It comes back to a basic buy low and sell high philosophy. While investors always like that idea in theory, it's not necessarily easy in practice, but a buy beaten down asset classes in some cases may work. And so holding an asset class through a downturn is never fun and often very difficult. Right now, our approach is, he says, is to emphasize emerging market stocks in the portfolio because of their attractive valuations. Emerging markets are cheap compared to most markets, especially the expensive U.S. market. Well, you know what? This is all very complex. And what does this really mean to you? Let me boil this down. It's a big world out there. We know this. When certain U.S. sectors are going down, or parts of the market, we can expect other sectors overseas to go up in some cases. And that's what asset class diversification is all about, right? Mitigate downside exposure by investing in non-correlated assets. This kind of smooths out your returns, makes it for a less bumpy ride, more comfortable in retirement. But how do you know if investing globally is right for you? If you're dealing with a stockbroker or annuity salesperson, you probably won't. They sell products while I sell planning. Their job is to hit their sales quota. My job is to make sure that you have the highest probability of success in your planning, all matched to your personal risk tolerance. When you work with Fort Wealth Management, you'll be exposed to potentials you may never have seen before. It's a big world out there, and there is money being made all over the world. Is global investing right for you? You'll never know until you see your options, which you can do simply by calling Fort Wealth Management now at 800-886-5624. Leave a message. We'll get back to you right away. Spend an hour with me, Justin Fort, and you'll absolutely know where you stand. You'll see how much money you could be making globally, and you'll learn whether it makes sense according to your risk profile. Almost 100% of our clients through our investment advisory there have at least some exposure to foreign investments. Many people do this, almost like I said, 100%. Here's why. We want to own the world investment-wise because it's what they teach at universities. It's what we see research supports. It's what pension funds do. It's what endowment funds do. Investing for the long term. It's the classic way. Be globally invested. Do it the cheapest way possible. Own as many asset classes as possible. Wait according to your risk tolerance for the volatility that you want to see in your retirement portfolio. Don't time the markets. No constant in and out trading, which only erodes value. Don't do it. And stop working with people that are charging you to do that for you. The big endowment funds and pensions are 95% strategic, 5% tactical. Why? They can't afford to be wrong. They'd all go lose their jobs if they were not able to continue that pension valuation to be able to make do the liabilities they have, those checks they have to write to all those retirees that pension is meant to support. They can't get this wrong. And so why are many people that I meet with taking the kinds of risks they are with tactical investing and timing the markets when you don't have the ability to do that or the expertise to do that, and nor are you working with people that do. Isn't that really what you want, though? You want a long-term strategy that's based on research and is sound and tried and true. Find out how you could benefit from this kind of long-term investing by calling Fort Wealth Management now at 800-886-5624. That's 800-886-5624. Call us now. When we come back, the 5 pillars of a happy and successful retirement plan. This is Justin Fort, Retirement Journey with Justin Fort right here, Talk 1370.
Hi, this is Jennifer Carter, Justin's sidekick here on the show. During the week, I'm his executive assistant at Fort Wealth Management, where we spend our time helping good people like you plan for the retirement you deserve. Most of those plans include Social Security, and most of the people we see don't realize that there are hundreds of ways to take their Social Security benefits. That's why we do group classes, where we explain the basic options and how to optimize these amazing benefits. The thing is, you need to get the knowledge before you start taking benefits. Because once you start, it can be difficult or even impossible to go back and change what you've selected. Would you like to be in one of our classes? Call our RSVP line at 1-800-769-1614 and we'll get you on the list for a time that's convenient for you. Here's the number again, 1-800-769-1614.
Welcome back to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort, where it's all about planning for the happy and successful retirement you deserve. Now, the 5 pillars of a happy and successful retirement, let's talk about that for a second. Let's start with some questions. These are not rhetorical questions, by the way. They're real. These are the questions you must be able to answer to know if you're going to be safe and secure for the rest of your life, or asking the kids for a place to stay while you're working as a Walmart greeter. Nothing against Walmart greeters. I love Walmart and Walmart greeters. But that may not be in your design for a plan. Number 1, is your money growing enough to keep up with or keep you ahead of inflation? Simple question. What's your answer? How much income will you have in retirement? How long will it last? Will your spouse get that income if you should die first? Or will you get theirs? What is your answer? Do you have the liquidity you need to make sure you can take care of the emergencies and opportunities as they arise, because they will, I promise? Are you adequately shielded against calamities like cancer, long-term care needs, other medical expenses? Or will you go broke paying doctor bills? What about your financial legacy? Will you leave a nice inheritance or just crumbs? Do you even know what you want to leave? Do you know who you want to spend the money you've worked so hard to accumulate? Is it you or is it them? Probably not the government. In your working years, your money has really only one job. You save it and you want it to grow. So growth. Once you retire, your money has to do 5 jobs. It has to provide growth, income, liquidity, and shield against calamity, and potentially leave a legacy for the people and causes you love. Those are the 5 pillars of happy, successful, sustainable retirement. Growth, income, liquidity, and shield against calamity, and leave a legacy for those people and causes you love. Where are you on each of those? Listen, you don't have to be a genius to figure this stuff out. You may be used to having charts and graphs and statistics thrown in your face. Some advisors seem to get some kind of perverse pleasure out of baffling people, making them feel inadequate. That's not how we here at Fort Wealth Management like to operate. Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough yourself. That's how I see it too. Call Fort Wealth Management now, 800-886-5624. Make an appointment, spend an hour with me, Justin Fort, and you'll absolutely know where you stand and what it's going to take to close the gap in all 5 areas of your plan. That's 800-886-5624. Call us now. I'd love to visit with you. Don't be concerned about being 100% in all 5 areas. No one is when they first come in. No one. Don't be ashamed. I want to see what you've got. We'll see where we can help. If we can't help, we'll let you know. If we can, we'll let you know how. Do you want to run out of money? Of course not. But how will you know if that's going to happen if you don't have a plan or have this review? Well, you can, number one, you can wait and see, or number two, you can come in and see me. I'll run the numbers and show you a few tips and tricks that'll help you make it all the way. Then you'll know. Call now, 800-886-5624. Don't run out of money. Don't get eaten alive by inflation. Don't let medical bills cannibalize your savings. Make sure you can leave a legacy to the people and causes you love for the amount that you want. Won't it feel good to know that you've got the income for life that you deserve to take care of you and your spouse, and your loved ones will have something nice to remember you by? That's what makes a happy and successful retirement. Having your 5 pillars in place lets you sleep well at night. That's really what it's all about. So call us at 800-886-5624. We want you to sleep well at night. Fort Wealth Management, 800-886-5624. Do it now, 800-886-5624. This is Justin, Retirement Journey, Talk 1370.